Hey guys, I'm here with my project for the Wild Orchid Crafts design team, and I made kind of like a little bouquet of flowers. So let me show you first the products. I used some of the mixed curly wild roses in the blue pack. I used, this is a really cute set of mixed flowers, and they have these sets now in a few different colors. They have an awesome teal set, and then this is like a corally pink, and I thought it was so pretty. So I used a bunch of the flowers in here. I also used some of these mixed color chrysanthemums. I used some of the mixed color tulip flowers. There were a couple of these that were from a pink mixed curly wild rose set, a small mixed curly wild rose set, and I'll put the link for the product code below for that. There is also some seam binding, and I used a few different colors of seam binding. I used the cream. I used a lot of this one, so I'm going to have to get more actually of this and the cream. The Aquarelle, really pretty. It's like a really soft greenish color. And I used some of this white rosette trim, so pretty, and I'll put the product code for that below. It is the MKX294, but I'll put that below. And then finally, I used some of this really beautiful Guipure lace. Love this pattern. And all those product codes will be below in the video. In the description box. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make them as well. I'm going to show you the project and then show you how to make one of them. So let me put my little supplies out and then show you what I made. So I actually put it in a little kind of makeshift vase, which is where the lace and some other stuff comes in, but I'm going to show you what I made first. The first thing I made was this bouquet, and I made it just using some simple supplies I had around the house. Of course, gorgeous flowers from Wild Orchid Crafts, and this is just an assortment of some of those flowers that I showed you. And I made the stems using the Aquarelle seam binding, and I just used straws, just regular plastic straws. Originally I wanted to make some pens like I had made quite a few months ago, but I didn't have any pens and I was in my PJs and I didn't want to go out and buy any, so like, what do I have around the house that would work as stems? So I used straws, and they worked out really, really well. The seam binding covered them perfectly, and I was afraid that the glue wouldn't hold on them, or that the glue would melt them rather, but they didn't. So I love the way that it came out. I really like the look that the seam binding gives to it, especially this little bow here. And I just did a double bow, which I just held two strips together and tied them in a bow. I'm going to go ahead and untie it though to show you just some of the individual pieces real quickly, and then I'll show you how to put them together. Alright, so here they are separately, and you can see the bendy straws do bend a little, which is kind of cool if you're wanting to make them, you know, move in different directions. But I just put 3 or 4 flowers together, and I wound the stems and put them in the straw, and then wound the straw with seam binding, which I'll show you exactly how I put this together. So I'm just going to show you how to put together one, but from that you'll be able to put together any combination of flowers that you like. So I made a few different ones with, you know, some of the bigger flowers. I made some with some of the smaller flowers. This one actually has 5 flowers on it. Love these lilies. This came in that mixed sorry, my flowers went away. This came in that mixed embellishment pack, or the mixed flower pack. So pretty. And then I love this color combination with that coral pink and yellow and purple. Love it. So I'll have to get those together later again and tie them up. But I also made a makeshift jar, or a vase, with just a water bottle, because that's what I had. I didn't have any glass. I looked all over for glass. And if you had glass, these would look so pretty just sitting in glass. I mean, just being able to see the stems would be so pretty in a plain glass bottle. But I didn't have one. So I went ahead and just used a water bottle. I tied some seam binding at the top in the Aquarelle, And then I wanted to put this lace around it, but because of the width of the lace and the small diameter of the bottle, I had to kind of angle it so that it didn't bunch up. So I just wrapped some seam binding, twirled some seam binding and glued it at the top. And then I made a little bow at the end so that it didn't look like such a rough edge on the lace. And then I did the same thing up there, because it just kind of looked like a rough cut edge. So I just put like a little bow so that it didn't look that way. And then in the bottom of the bottle, you can't really tell. Oh, there, you can tell. I put some of that white rosette trim, and then I glued some white rosette trim around the edge. And then inside, I just put all kinds of crystals and glass clear beads that I had, just to give some kind of interest, something to look at. And then when you put the flowers in here, which I'll have to arrange them later, the stems actually go into the crystals, so you have to shake them a little. But then the stems actually go into the crystals, and you have a little flower vase. So I thought it was just a cute idea for a gift for a friend. A birthday's coming up, so I just wanted to make her a little flower vase. She likes flowers and keeps them on her desk at work. So I'll arrange those a little bit later. But what I want to do now is show you how I made one of the stems so that you can make something like this. It's very, very simple. And I'm actually going to use the silver seam binding in the tutorial to show you. All you need is a piece of seam binding. You could also use, I know Wild Orchid Craft sells ribbon, and you could use that as well. You could also use their cotton lace or like a thin lace that they have. That would look really, really pretty with lace stems. So you could use anything that they have, anything that's pliable that will wrap around. A straw, I chose the green. I had a multi-pack with like red, yellow, blue, and green, and I chose the green. That way if any color showed through, it'd be the green of the stem. But you can do this with any straw that you have. And even though the seam binding is sheer, it does cover the color. I also like to use the bendy ones. I like the way it worked out because then I could bend the bouquet in any way that I wanted to kind of make the arrangement look more full. And then you're just going to need some of your favorite Wild Orchid Crafts flowers. So very, very simple supply list, not much. You will need an adhesive as well. Hot glue is the best. And especially when you're making something that needs to hold quickly, hot glue just cannot be beat for its hold and its quickness. So I start by arranging the flowers how I want, and I try to like multi-level them so that they make a good presentation. And then once I've got that, I take one of the stems and I wrap it around the rest of them. Okay. And then I make sure I like the way it looks. Now you could also have it so that both sides look pretty. Like you could bend that one down and have that. I just have that. I like the way that looks. And you can add some tulips here. You can add some leaves. I did not add any leaves to this bouquet, but you could easily add some leaves. These leaves are from the tulips, and that's why I liked using them, because they already came with leaves. I thought that was really cute. So next what you're going to do is you're going to take the top of your straw, and I'm going to put the tip of the glue gun in the straw, and I'm going to just kind of add as much glue as it will hold. It will go down to right about there. And then I'm going to just put the flowers in, making sure all the stems are in there. Okay. And then I'm just going to hold it for a second, because that will hold them in there. Now I was putting more glue at the top and then putting them in, but it's really not necessary. Once the glue is holding them in there, they will stay. And I give that just a few seconds to dry and to grab on. Alright, and then now I'm going to wind, and I wind from the top down. So to do that, I'm going to start actually a little bit further down, and I'll show you why. It's going to make it look more seamless at the top. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue, put my seam binding, okay, and I'm going to diagonally wrap it to the top. And once I get a little bit closer, I'm going to add some glue so that it's going to hold the seam binding. Just got to maneuver under the flowers. So I'm going to get real close to the top of that straw, then wrap it a couple times, add some glue a little bit further down, and now I'm going to start kind of twirling it at a diagonal angle. And then what that does is it just secures the top. So when you start down here, go up and then come back down, it secures the top better with your seam binding. So now I'm just going to add like a long strip of glue about halfway down, and I'm going to diagonally curl the seam binding. And careful not to put your fingers on it. It will go through the seam binding and burn you. Okay, and then I'm going to check, make sure it looks okay. Yep. And then what I'm going to do is add pretty much the rest of the way down, and then just continue the process, making sure that the seam binding is wrapping tightly. I'm going at a diagonal angle. I'm overlapping about halfway so that none of the straw is showing. And when you overlap about halfway, it covers it just enough that you're not going to see that color come through. So no matter what color your straws are, it's okay. Now it will bend a little as you're working with it, but it will straighten out, don't worry. So now that I'm at the end, now I'm going to put some glue at the very end. I'm going to wrap it as close to the edge as I can possibly get. And I am going to wrap it one more time. So let me put some glue down here because that's where I want it to kind of stop. Alright. And then I would take my scissors. Okay, then I would cut whatever's on the very edge, add just a little bit of glue. And then be careful here because it will come through and burn your fingers. And then I'm just going to end it there. And there you have it. You have a little flower stem. So these are really simple. It takes you like a minute or two to do them, and once you get going, it's pretty fast. You can easily make an elegant bouquet in a short amount of time using very few materials, stuff you probably already have around your house, and make a really nice gift for a friend. These are really fun and nice to give instead of real flowers because they last forever. Thanks guys so much for watching. I hope that this tutorial was helpful. I hope you liked the project. And don't forget to check out wildorchidcrafts.com. They have some amazing, amazing flowers and sets. And check out the rest of the design team for their awesome projects. And coming up, there are some new members, so make sure you are watching their Facebook page and their YouTube account to see some of the amazing talent that is coming aboard. Thanks guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.